You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Now to go around the room, actually with us is, as you heard me introduce Mark Ryan of Transformers. He's also known for doing a little known but quite popular, I guess, TV show Robin Hood.
Robin of Sherwood, please.
And
Robin
with us is one of the veterans of that show who's gone on to be pretty prolific and fairly awesome director, Jason Connery, who... Go ahead, you can say
yes, lovely to be here, Heath. Thank you very much for having me on the show for a second time.
I know, it's a privilege to have you back, and you've directed such hits as 51, Pandemic, some great stuff. You're also the son of Roger Moore?
That's right,
right.
Yes. No, actually Billy Conroy.
Because I have already gotten a lot of you Twitters asking if you're related. But
yeah.
And then also with us is Ralph, our friend.
Panuzzo.
He's joining us today, and there's going to have some interesting personalities in the mix. But I guess I'm going to start things off with the conversation you and I had, Jason, yesterday a little bit when I called you up. And I said, really, you got this new movie coming out called The Philly Kid, which people are already saying is one of the best films of the year. And I wanted to...
I've seen it twice.
Yeah, I've heard that it's actually a fantastic movie, and I mean that in all sincerity. And I called you and I said, why the fuck do I have to read how good this thing is on Facebook? Why are you not here with your friends at Combat Radio talking about the film properly?
You're right.
And
you did.
And you didn't have an answer for me yesterday.
I didn't. I was dumbstruck. And today, even though I've had time to think about it, I have no idea why that wasn't my first call. I apologize.
Yeah, I can hear that. I'm shame on you. You've been a friend around here a long time.
I know.
And you just...
But I'm here now, so let's make amends.
I know, and we just okay. I'll accept your apology.
I'm sorry.
we had you on May the 4th with you earlier, which is another show. But for those of us who are listening for the first time, we have to act like we're talking about this movie for the first time.
Yes.
But it is a great film.
Thank you.
And the word is, it is pretty fantastic, and people can get it on iTunes already. The premiere was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes. Yes.
But what can you tell our audience?
It's a film based on a true story about a young boy who's a very, very good wrestler initially, and he wrestles for Drexel. But he then, even though he's from and Drexel's in Philadelphia, is originally from Louisiana, and he is going to go to the Olympics. And right in the year of 2000, and right before that, he has an altercation outside a liquor store, and.
Good location.
I did call it an off license, and nobody knew what I was talking about on the calls we would use.
No, certain people in Europe got it.
All right, yes. Anyway, so he breaks a guy's neck, and he goes to there's also some police involved, and various things happen. But he goes to prison for 10 years, and when he comes out, he joins the world of mixed martial art, and the story goes from there. And it's great fun. There's a lot of action, and. I'm very proud of it. I think the actors, Wes Chatham is the lead. We had Neil McDonough, who you may remember in Band of Brothers, who's a very, very nice guy and a good actor. Michael Jai White,
who played Tyson.
And the amazing thing is, you actually shot it in 18 minutes.
Yeah, 18 minutes.
Yes.
Well, that's what
all on my cell phone.
That's what we were. Yeah, that's the new medium right there. But that's what we were talking about last hour. Was that your ability to actually capture something with 18 production days, or actually principal photography days?
Yes.
That's difficult.
We had two cameras, one splinter and one main camera, and we just went to town, splits days. Half day, half night, and we just went for it. And so, I think we shot it on the red, and it moves along. Devon Sauer is in it as well, who as you may know from Nikita, and he's a big MMA fan. In fact, everyone that the lead actor Wes Chatham fights, and he did all the fights, no stuntmen. He fought real MMA fighters.
The fights are great, and I said this, but I'll say it again. Some of the most difficult stuff to cover and to actually choreograph are hand-to-hand fights in the movies. Swords, you've got a distance, gunfights are easy, all that kind of stuff where you've got some kind of control. When you've got two guys actually punching each other and rolling around, stuff can go horribly, horribly wrong. And it looks great, it's well shot, and the fights look fantastic.
How much time do you allow these guys to choreograph that and work that out?
Well, there's as Mark was saying, it's a double-edged sword, because you want it to look very realistic, and you don't want them to look as though they're sort of dancing. You want want to look like they're really beating the snot out of each other. And so, to a certain extent, about 80% of them is actually them beating the snot out of each other. Obviously, one doesn't want to have great welts on the face and things like that. In fact, some of the fighters kept saying, hit me, hit me. Hit me, doesn't matter, I'm okay, it's fine, I like it. And we're like, yeah, but in the next take, you're going to have a great big bulb over your eye. And
there's no mind for continuity.
Yeah. It's why boxing films often don't work, because you can see there's something about a real fight, a boxing match, which you can't capture in a film. Is that real contact? And if you watch any of the films, even the Rocky films,
well, the Rocky films definitely, those fight scenes definitely don't hold up. But the movie itself, is fantastic.
The movies are great, but even with
I said movie, I didn't say movies. I'm not saying Rocky 3, 4. Those are Rocky.
Cinderella Man probably was one of the better ones, or Raging Bull.
How about the recent one, The Fighter, with Mark Wahlberg? That was pretty good.
But it's difficult to actually capture that real contact. If you've ever been ringside, which I have many times, that noise, that sound, it's not choreographed. You can see it's a fight.
The Fighter was interesting because they actually commissioned HBO to shoot the fights. This is what I heard
division?
Anyway. Yeah, they basically said, we want you to shoot this like it's a real boxing match, and HBO stepped in and shot it exactly as they would with the guys on the front, in front of the ring, talking about the fight coming up, especially the big fight, and then in the ring they used the same kind of shots, mid shots. So it wasn't shot like action fight. It was shot like okay, these yeah. And I don't know. For me, the fights were realistic to a certain extent, but as Mark says, there's a strange thing where it's to do with the actual, like, for instance, in our film, we did a lot of things where we changed the shutter angle and things, so it became slightly staccato, but you wouldn't realize it unless you were made aware of it. It's an
subliminal
effect. Yeah, it's a sort of subliminal effect, and I would take out frames so it really looked as though the guy was being punched, because the frame, his fist would I'd take out a few frames so it looked as though it was literally imploding into his face.
I want to actually give you a compliment of being the first guest in our show's history of ever using the vocabulary word staccato.
You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmeyer, right here on LA Talk Radio.